Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to look at John chapter 18, verses 15 through 38. Now, these verses talk about two trials. There's the trial of Jesus before Pilate, and there's also the trial of Peter in front of the others by that charcoal fire. Sometimes we think about these two stories. We know about Peter denying Jesus. We know about what happened when Jesus was talking with Pilate, but we don't often think about them running parallel to each other. But they do. Peter is on trial just as much as Jesus is. When you look at the text, it's like the camera shifts from Peter to Jesus, back and forth. We are meant to see these two scenes together. So it starts with Peter. Jesus has been led away, and Peter's outside by this charcoal fire. And one of the women kind of asks him, "Are you one of this man's disciples?" Now, Peter, of course, says no. Now, that question, "Are you one of his disciples?" is different than the question that he's asked in this same scene in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. In those Gospels, the question is, do you know him? And Peter says no. Here, it's not about do you know him or not, but do you follow him? Are you one of his disciples, right? The bar has been raised. You know a lot of people, but do you follow him? Okay? Then the camera shifts to what's going on with Jesus and Pilate. We hear that Pilate questioned Jesus about his teachings and his disciples. He kind of wants to know what Jesus has been talking about. Well, then Jesus says, "Why don't you ask those who heard me? I was teaching openly, and lots of people heard what I had to say. Ask them. Have them tell you what I said." Think about Peter now. Peter was one of those people who had heard what Jesus said. And when he was given a chance to speak up for Jesus, he didn't. The camera shifts back to Peter now. And then Peter is asked that question yet again. Are you one of his disciples? Peter denies it, and we hear about the cock crowing. And Peter realizes that Jesus was right. Jesus predicted earlier that Peter was going to deny him, and that's exactly what happened. Then the camera shifts back to Jesus. Jesus and Pilate continue their conversation, and they talk about kingship, if Jesus is a king or not. Now, Pilate would have been interested in this because Pilate's a political guy. He doesn't care about the theological stuff surrounding Jesus. He wants to know if Jesus is a political threat to him. Well, Jesus says that my kingdom is not from this world. Pilate says, so you are a king. And Jesus kind of clarifies, again, his kingdom's not from this world. I'm not the kind of king that you think of when you think about what kingship looks like. Jesus says that he has come to testify to the truth. Pilate then says, what is truth? And that's where the scene ends. It ends with that cliffhanger, with that unanswered question. But if you think about it, Pilate is looking at Jesus saying, what is truth? When the truth is standing right in front of him. Jesus himself. Remember, Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. Jesus is right there in front of him as the truth, and Pilate won't recognize it. Pilate only sees him as a potential political threat. Peter just denied Jesus, and Pilate doesn't see who Jesus is. Jesus, of course, goes on to the cross in the following scenes. Jesus is a king, and his presence here is to testify to the truth of himself. And he calls us, like Peter and all of the other disciples, to witness to that truth. Right? Ask the people who heard me. They'll tell you what I said. Today, that's us. We are always on trial, so to speak. We always have the chance to say, yes, I am one of his disciples. Let me tell you what he's taught me. Peter failed when he had the chance. In our lives, sometimes we fail too. But we always get second chances to do it again. We always get more chances to say, yes, I do follow Jesus, and here's the truth of what he said. And then we can point others to Jesus. There's your 5-minute Bible study. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.